Hi everyone, we're going to continue our study of the nervous system talking about some of our special senses. So as we know, our special senses are going to include our 5 main sense. So that would be vision, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. So we're going to talk about a few of the organs that contribute to this. So that is going to be, for vision, it is our eye. For hearing, your ear. Taste is going to be some taste receptors found on your tongue. Smell is your olfactory system. This actually has a little bit to do with your nose and a little bit further back into your throat. And then touch is our skin, talking about hot, cold, and pressure and pain. The two we are going to focus on for structures and organs here is going to be vision and hearing. So let's take a look at our eye here. So we have 3 layers of our eye. Our outermost layer is going to consist of our sclera, which is this nice white part that circles the entire eye, and our cornea. So our cornea is a transparent layer that is continuous with our sclera here. Our middle layer is going to be our coronoid, ciliary body, and iris. So if we take a look, our iris is this colored part of our eye. Our ciliary body, we can see right here are these little muscles that are going to connect as well. And then our coronoid is going all the way around as well. And then our inner layer consists of our retina. So if we take a look, it's more of this red feature in the back over here. That would be our retina. So let's get more specific into these functions of these major parts. So our sclera is also called the white of our eye. It's a tough tissue that is going to help maintain the shape of your eye. Our cornea is clear, and remember it is continuous with our sclera. And this is where we're going to allow light to enter into our eye. So it's the covering where you can see the color and your pupil of your eye. That covering is the cornea. The next part is our iris. Iris is the pigmented portion. So everyone has different eye colors, and that is going to be your iris here. So some people might have brown, green, blue, gray, all these different colors. And sometimes that tells you a little bit about how they take in light. But what the main function is, it controls the amount of light that is going to come into the eye. Our next structure is a lens. It's a crystalline structure located behind the iris, and its main purpose is going to be to focus that light so we can see a more clear image. When you think of the lens, try to think of maybe eyeglasses, it's focusing the image, or a magnifying glass. That is what our lens is purposed. And then here our pupil. We know that a pupil is the opening in that iris that actually allows the light to pass through. Our next part is our vitreous humor. It's a thick, transparent liquid that's going to fill the eye cavity. And then lastly, our retina here is that sensory tissue. So this is actually what's going to help us see the image and respond to the brain to tell us what we are looking at. And it contains millions of these photoreceptors. So the 2 types of photoreceptors are rods and cones here. So rods are going to detect black and white, usually in low light situation. And then our cones are going to detect colors, and these actually work better in high light situations. So our rods are not going to show us a very clear image, but it is going to give us enough, where our cones are more of the specific features that we're going to see. So let's take a look at some of our features here. So again, we can see our sclera, that white covering all around our eye, our cornea, that is continuous with it, covering our iris, that covering in our pupil, which we know is that opening within the iris. Our lens is located right here, connected to ciliary muscles, so it's able to change shape to help focus what we're seeing here. Inside of this whole empty cavity over here, because our retina lines the back of our eye here. That's going to be our vitreous humor. All this red you see right here, that is our retina. That contains those cones and those rods. And then finally, that optic nerve is going to send that information that we're receiving from the retina to our brain. Something that's really interesting is that if you see here where that retina meets our optic nerve, we actually have a blind spot in our eyes. And that's going to be located right where that information is going to be sent through to the optic nerve. So how do we see images? So images are formed by lenses, so the lens here, and are actually upside down. So if we take a look at our leaf as we see it is right side up, but our lens is going to flip that image as it hits our retina. And once that information is sent into the optic nerve, our brain is actually going to flip it back, so we are perceiving it the way that it is actually in the world. It is a little bit backwards, but our whole eye system is actually a little bit backwards. And that will be mentioned a little bit in this YouTube video that's linked at the bottom here. But I want to talk a little bit more about the two receptors. So our rods are extremely sensitive to all light. So whether that light is dim or very bright, our rods are going to be helping perceive that, though it doesn't distinguish colors like I said. This is going to be best for our nighttime vision. But our cones are better with more light, and that color is going to become clear and be able to be perceived because we have more light. One thing for you to think about is, if you're ever in a dark room, try to see if you can pick out the colors of objects. You're going to find that it's going to be more difficult because since those cones are not operating under a large amount of light, you're just going to see our rods really taking in that information, and they're not going to perceive the color as well as you would with your cones. So it's just something kind of interesting here. Please do also watch that YouTube video that is linked at the bottom. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.